You'll stay here.
Right.
But
And then this
speak
way,
up.
this is. It's commercial person, it's 3 hours,
They're all good, Brad?
Yeah, see, yeah, that's so much better. That's, when I saw that, I thought, boy, that's a better way, because we've never handled that in the past the way it should have been handled.
No, and our
Yeah, we
policy.
got
And I know that was always so real.
Yeah, if we could get Laurie out of here, we should get started.
And a lot of work.
Right.
I bet if you
Miss Mac can have it.
gavel,
You're in
that, I bet
charge.
she'd probably sit
You
down.
make the
What,
decision.
I know.
Hello,
You're about to
Chris.
get gavel,
Looks
Laurie.
like everybody's like, I know, I gotta go.
Call this governing board meeting of the Eastern Arizona College to order. We do have one guest, Adam O'Doherty. Welcome. We will begin with a pledge. You'll join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's there. Nobody
there, I
has
see.
his auto.
We welcome board member Brad Montier with us through the Zoom. Call to the public. We have a guest, Adam O'Doherty from the United Way. If you'd like to approach and
So I am here to present a check for $135,000 for our scholarship fund through the foundation. We do this every year and it keeps growing and we're very pleased with the results. David's been very transparent and shown us all the wonderful things that are.
Oh, right.
And so on behalf of the United Way of Grand Prairie Counties, I would like to present this check to the foundation for our scholarships.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And the real one's on its way.
Yeah, David, let's see you cash that. Oh, I think that is excellent.
I'll say.
Thank you very much.
The real one. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Appreciate it, United Way. Yeah.
Jeff, I'm sorry, what was his name?
Adam O'Doherty,
Say the last name.
O'Doherty,
O'Doherty. And he's from United Ways
United Way.
here in Safford.
Yes.
Grand Green County.
Oh, Grim Green.
Yep.
Okay. That's a wonderful gesture. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm sure, David, you won't have any trouble spending that.
They haven't planned exactly how they want to do it. They have the number of students.
It'll go for scholarships.
Yes. I can explain a little of that during my regular time.
When anybody comes up to talk, could they take their mask off because it's impossible to hear with that mask on?
Yeah.
Because I think we're far enough away and projected well enough that at least then we can hear.
Thank you. Board minutes from our regular meeting held March 11th.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. College financial reports and vouchers. Vice President Welker.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented to you are the college financial reports and vouchers through the end of February. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I'll talk about some more fiscal things when we get to the budget. So this would be specifically for these reports through February.
Need a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the financial reports as presented by Vice President Welker.
I had a question though on, I don't know what this balance in the budget, you want to address that later?
He was gonna bring that up in the budget.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Vice President Walker. Okay, reports, Green County Advisory Committee, Dean McBride.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, my Greeley County Advisory Committee report is presented. We met on Tuesday, April 13th, just a couple of days ago. And to just follow up a few things that happened at that meeting, we did discuss our 2021-2022 goals, and they were approved as presented. And then also Eldon Merrill, Armando Carrillo, and Robert Pollock were all approved to continue for another 3-year term. So their term will now expire in 2023. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
No questions. Thank you, Dean McBride.
Thank you.
Okay, the Gila County Community College District Senior Dean Lawhorn.
Good morning, Chairman Larson, members of the board. The report is presented. We're pretty excited getting ready for graduation. We believe we have everything scheduled and we're looking forward to having students at least going through a real graduation ceremony this year, as we were not unable to do that last year. So here goes. We are looking at some different programs and again, trying to build some programs in Gila County, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Dean Ronhorn, on your full-time cosmetology instructor, was that expected or was that unexpected for her to resign?
Unexpected.
And is there in place to hire someone else for the fall semester?
Well, what we were able to do, Lois, is we found 2 awesome cosmetology instructors that both have businesses in Globe. And I met with both of them and we were going to be able to complete the program, which ends July 14th for our Gila students with those 2 part-time instructors. We had to do some modification. I worked with the state board, a lot of jumping through hoops and making sure everything is okay. But my goal is to then advertise for another full-time cosmetology instructor for the fall, because we do have civic students in that program as well.
Good, thank you.
Absolutely. We are also looking at hiring the new deans. We have probably 30 to 35 applicants for both the Payson and Globe campuses.
In the cosmetology?
No, deans.
Oh, the
Dean.
dean, okay.
For the dean positions. No, for the cosmetology, I have not announced that yet, Lois, but I will. We had a very difficult time finding even 2 part-time cosmetology instructors, let alone I said, I don't know if I'll be able to find a full-time. I may end up cobbling the program together with the 2 part-times, but we'll just have to work on that.
Thank you, Dean Lawhorn.
Absolutely.
Okay, Eastern Arizona College Foundation Alumni Association, Executive Director Udall.
Thank you, Chairman Larson, members of the board.
Thank you, David.
You bet. So the scholarship with the United Way, we're going into its 9th year. And about 3 years ago, they modified the program to increase the number of students that are attending. So right now, they've made the awards now 2-year awards. So they're covering everyone that they awarded last year, which was 5 local students from down the Greenwood County with any degree. And then there were 3 additional ITE students. And then also one for an ITE student, one for a single parent student, 2 education majors, and 1 individual who would like to go work for a nonprofit later as a career choice. And those last 5 students, those aren't just 2-year scholarships, they're 2-year plus if they'll stay with our partnership programs with ASU here on campus, they'll cover them for an additional 2 years. So it's very nice scholarships, and they added books in the last 2 years. So very nice scholarship awards that have been able to help a lot of students here. Increase what we were expecting.
Good deal.
Otherwise, we've been sending out more things like the helogram, getting that out to more and more households. And then we started something new with Ryan, the Hanks Place podcast, which has been done in partnership with the radio, with Richards and he's broadcasting. So on their internet, people can go in and watch these interviews, and they're a lot of fun. There were 2 versions of it that had Dr. Lunt and Rick Wetton talking about choir memories, and then we've had Kate McCluskey talking some of the memories both from the softball side and also from wellness. The President Haney and the district executive team were interviewed. One that's going to be coming out really quickly is people that were part of the year in Dennis Griffin's time period when we went to the national tournament. I think it's 93. Just a lot of fun things to bring up memories, and people can enjoy things. They can link to it from either our Facebook page or from the radio's pages. So we're getting a number of hits from there. I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have for the foundation or the Alumni Association.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Receive preliminary budget information by President Ball.
Thanks. Chairman Larson, members of the board, present to you the preliminary budget information in preparation for our May meeting when the official forms will come forth. In addition, you were provided with a quite large digital file that contained some budget analysis and the detailed budget as proposed. This page contains a short summary. You'll notice the budget is slightly down, as was our goal in our after, I believe, 2018. So our 2019, we were able to balance the budget. We closed in a net positive position in that year for the first time from the prior 5 years when we were in a deficit. The budget was balanced. This year, it appears, though our audit is not quite complete, that we will be balanced again and again in a net positive position. This budget hopes to accomplish the same, again, slightly lower than it was, but has also put us in a position to start tackling some of our infrastructure issues that have been outstanding for a while, and to start looking at some of our buildings that are in need of renovation and repair. Overall, it is looking very good. Our budget is to be able to take on some of these projects and to continue to balance the budget. As you know, and I've of course looked at these financials that haven't quite been approved by the Auditor General, though we're very close. Equalization continues to be a very big part of our funding, and just state appropriations in general. They make up about 50% of our revenues when taken as a whole, and equalization is about 45% of that. So again, a very significant portion of the aid that we receive comes directly from the state, which obviously we want to be very fiscally responsible with those funds, making sure that we're using them to their highest and best use to forward the interests of the institution, and again, to help us stay viable going forward. Not a lot has changed, as you see, because the budget is slightly down. We increased the contingency a little bit just because of the unknown of the pandemic and the things that have been going on. We don't quite know exactly where we'll need the funding and where we'll, what priorities might pop up, though we're trying to come up with some forecasts for that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Again, also understanding you have a lot more information, maybe even more than you want digitally that was sent to you. But I can try to address any questions you have.
Took my laptop about 10 minutes to download. Or I could bring it up. Oh, boy.
Did you have a question about the?
No, nothing I want to bring up.
Okay.
So no formal action, just
Right.
for your information. And obviously, May will be a big meeting. Typically, we present the audited financials in this meeting, but since we're not quite done, we'll present those and the proposed final budget in May. So it'll be busy.
Who will be busy?
Yeah.
All right, new business, receive program portfolios, Vice President Wood.
Kevin Larson, members of the board, thank you so much for allowing me to present a summary of program portfolios. Just a bit of background to remind you that we do program portfolios to stay in compliance with the Higher Learning Commission, as well as to always have continuous quality improvement here on our campus. The Higher Learning Commission, our national accreditor, does require that we do an audit, so to speak, a review of all of our instructional and non-instructional programs to ensure that we are always looking for ways of improving and what are those opportunities. And so what we have done here is that each year annually, instructional, non-instructional programs submit what we call a program portfolio. And then we present to the district governing board a summary of 5 to 7 each year. And so this year, the ones that are presented in your board packet include the science division, and there are several programs under science, communicative arts, again, several programs, counseling, athletics, Gila County programs, and fiscal control. Just a high-level overview of some of the themes, and then you can read in more detail what is presented for you. For the instructional side, the themes that came out as far as the strengths, it's the faculty here. That just was remarked over and over again from the different division chairs, is that we've got quality faculty, they're credentialed, they're committed to our students, committed to EAC. So that's a strength. I think that another strength is that we are continually looking for ways to align our programs, whether they're workforce or transfer, with that next level. So if they're workforce, are we aligning with industry needs? And if they are transfer, are we aligning with the four-year institutions that our students transfer to? And in fact, that's a strength, is that we're continually looking at that to make sure that the experience for students is as positive as possible, and that they are not accruing credits that lead nowhere. We want those credits to lead to either a degree, a transfer degree, or to a job. Opportunities for improvement because of the pandemic. Enrollment was one of those themes that kept coming up. How can we increase enrollment? And so you'll see plans in here of how the different programs want to increase enrollment. They haven't just said, oh, enrollment's down or retention is down. They identify what it is that they might do to improve that. And then as far as the non-instructional, I'll just highlight that for athletics, we've done a couple of things. We have increased the number of scholarships to the maximum allowed by the NJCC. And we've also increased the stipend for assistant coaches to try to attract and retain quality assistant coaches. And then I would say for the other non-instructional, again, the strength are the staff members that are so dedicated. And also each unit said that ways that they want to improve is to better serve customers. So figure out what they can do to serve that end customer. And that may be an internal employee or it may be a student. But they recognize that they're always wanting to improve quality. And I would stand for any questions if you have any.
That's pretty
It's an
impressive.
excellent report, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Thank you. Okay, Vice President Welker, received preliminary associated students budget.
Yes, Chairman Larson, members of the board. This again is for your review, no formal action, but just a presentation of those budgets for the associated students that are proposed. There is not a lot of change here over prior years. The funding seems to be adequate to support these programs. Of course, this budget is a lot more simple than our general budget, a couple of pages long, not a lot to it. But again, it seems to be adequate. We've worked with Dean Sorensen and Mrs. Patty Wren on these and making sure those clubs are supported and have the funding that they need. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any on these.
You know, I know these funds have never changed for many, many years. Are those funds really adequate to support the needs they have now? Because I know cost definitely has changed tremendously. And I know that the Patty's worked very hard to keep everything, you know, very cost effective.
It's a great question. And to that point, she continues to do so. And she also knows she can ask and for whatever she needs with justification. And we are more than willing to consider increasing funding in any and all of the areas if needed. As you probably know too, these clubs are a lot self-sustaining as well.
Right.
And they go out and have fundraisers and do a lot of things on their own accord. Something I like that Patty does as well is she rewards those clubs that seem to be doing good things on campus, and will even take some of the budget from others that maybe weren't fully formed during the year and say, hey, there's some extra funds that we can now give this club because it is doing so well. So I think overall, the money is there, though she might need to shift it in some cases, depending on the popularity of the clubs, which can fluctuate, you know, significantly even from year to year, depending what student base we have here, or just extra interests that pop up because of what's happening in culture and everything else. So
I know I hear on the radio, and they don't do it every morning, but it is done probably at least a couple of times a week, letting the community know about the need to bring food, you know, canned food, items that can be used for students here at the college
Yes.
who are not able to have enough, you know, funds to be able to do that. And I know that this week, I think it's already been on twice, but David down there, and of course the different ones he brings on for that morning show, they always mention EAC and Patty Wynn. And to be sure and remember that those, when you go to the grocery store, to be able to do that. And I think that's a great program. I know Patty again has worked very hard to make sure the students don't go without.
Yep.
And that's why, I guess I'm questioning, because I know she does work hard
Yep.
for the students to make sure they have, and the clubs and everything, have everything they need. So that's another good program at this count.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Vice President Welker. You answered my question, but I know that at least if they need more money, they can come to you.
Well, and let me just quickly point out too, if you look at the bottom of that column on the budget here,
Yeah,
I don't know why historically, though, it didn't show that they also have been accumulating a cash balance. So in fact, they even have some extra funds there right now without us even increasing what we're currently giving. So again, they wouldn't use those without, justifying the reason, but they even have funds sitting there that they could potentially use without us even increasing what we're budgeting for on a year-to-year basis. So,
Might I just add to that, when I've spoken with Patty about it this year, one of the reasons that the expenses haven't been as great is because of COVID. So she just hasn't been able to do the number of activities that you would do in a typical year.
COVID-19 has changed everything.
It has.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Welker. Going on to C, agenda item C, consider the workforce development plan.
yes, Chairman Larson, members of the board, for your consideration, I present to you the workforce development plan for the coming fiscal year for the college. This is a resolution that will need approval. These budgets tend to be somewhat vague, and they are possible and proposed opportunities that we could use workforce development funds for. Although historically, there's been a lot of other items that pop up during the year that we also designate to use these funds for as well. So you'll find attached a proposal of some ideas. Some are ideas that we're heavily considering. Others are normal course of business operations where we're replacing out old technology for those workforce development programs that are on a schedule and that typically come through annually. But overall, those funds are available to us from the state again to forward these types of programs. And it is a board resolution. It has to take place annually, that we have something in place that states generally at least how those funds will be used.
Is that the direction they gave? Was just, was that the direction that general, just strengthen education? Or did they pinpoint some areas that money ought to be spent in, or?
There's a statute, so it's ARS statute 15 something, and even the statute is fairly vague, but references again that it needs to be used for workforce programs. We do biannually, we have to submit a report that shows and tells how we use those funds. And that typically goes through the CBO, the ACWAC group for the state, and then goes to our lobbyists, who then shares it with the legislature and tells a story of how the funds are being used at the different institutions and how those workforce programs are benefiting and what they are. And even the report itself is, I would say, more in story form than it is like an audit. There's not specific numbers that we go out and say exactly where those expenses went, but to what programs and what some of the outcomes were. So,
Chairman Larson, members of the board, and Mr. Matthijs, in that, on that agenda item, that numbered list 1 through 5 shows you the language from the statute. It's pretty broad in terms of where those funds can be spent. The partnerships, the additional faculty for expanded classroom instructions, for example, technology equipment, et cetera. It's broad in statute, and so we're grateful for that, so that it gives us some flexibility in where to spend those monies.
It's been going for a lot of years.
Yeah, that leads me to my last question: is there a sunset on this thing, or is it ongoing, or is it
ongoing. And I believe it does,
It's November of 2000, so it's almost 21 years.
21 years it's been going, and then it feels like they even, whenever it starts getting close, the date is renewed again for an extra however many years. But the word is that this is perceived as highly important to the state and will continue to be a source of funding. And the sales, it's based on sales tax that was raised specifically to raise these funds and then designate them, much like the 207 that just passed, which will be considered right now into perpetuity. Like community colleges will be receiving these into the future as far as we know. So.
Well. Send us money, we'll spend it.
Gotta approve this plan.
I move approval of our workforce development plan.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, consider courses and curriculum, Vice President Wood.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, thank you. You'll see several pages here of some exciting changes. And so I'd like to give you kind of a high-level overview of what it is that you're looking at. So the new courses that have been proposed support gift programs, also support what will be in the future an associate in media communication, and then to support our HVAC. So those are the new courses. And then if you look at the course modifications, you'll see that these are mostly a change in the number of credits. And in both cases, so both for the new programs and the course modifications, what I think is important to note is just to reiterate what I mentioned before, is that it really is an attempt to align with industry and or transfer degrees. I'd like to call attention to, if you go past the course deletions and you look at the new curricula, this is kind of exciting. I think the business program has done a tremendous amount of work to try to streamline the offerings for students and also then with industry. And so instead of having 3 different associates, they have 1 associate, and you'll see that these new curricula, these certificates of proficiency, I apologize, that they all align now to 1 associate, so that a student can start, and in about 16 to 18 credits, they can earn 1 certificate that would get them into the workforce immediately. They can continue for another semester and earn another certificate that takes about 33, 35 credits. And then if they go another year, they can finish up with their general education requirements and earn the associate. And so it's quite a nice design that the business faculty have spent a lot of time looking at, getting advice from their advisory committee, also checking with internal stakeholders to make sure that for the gen ed, that their students who choose this path will have the courses sequenced such that they can finish in 2 years, should they choose. So those are some kind of exciting developments there. You'll also see that there is an organizational leadership, that's an Associate of Arts degree, also in the business division. And that particular Associate of Arts will transfer to 4-year institutions, but if a student chooses to stay on campus, they can finish that bachelor's degree through our partnership with ASU. And that's the organizational leadership bachelor's degree. So another advantage for our students. The personal trainer, which is next, is kind of a revamp of what we've had, and it's offered in conjunction with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So it gets students a workforce credential. And so that's another advantage to students. And then you'll see after that, you see curriculum modifications. Many of these are, again, back with the business division, and that is all supporting that new alignment to that single associate's degree. And I think that's kind of the broad, the big picture. So I would stand for questions should you have any.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept the courses and curricula as presented.
We have a motion
Glad
and a
Glad we
second.
work together, Rick.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. All right, consider board policy and review administrative regulations. President Haney.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented for your approval are three policies that have been updated or changed or deleted. In addition, there are 4 regulations for your review. No action is needed. The information is before you, but just a brief overview. One of the policies has been deleted because it's outdated, and one of the regulations is being deleted because of it being outdated. The public information program policy has been updated to reflect changes to state law, as well as coordinated it with a public records request policy that we have. We are also updating the regulations related to the load hour requirements for our full-time faculty, and the policy or the regulation related to withdrawing from a course. Information is presented for the 3 policies are presented for your approval, and the regulations are presented for your review. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I was delighted to see the improvements made on that public information policy. I learned something about commercial before. I'd never seen that before. That's something new that we've never had to direct before, and obviously something that now is being done.
Right. The old policy was very outdated and didn't reflect certainly practice, but also not the law.
Yeah, no, I was delighted when I read the changes made to it. Very well done.
Good. Thank you. We have a policy review committee that is relatively new, that is chaired by Laurie Pennington. And the sole purpose of that committee is to ensure that our policies are up to date,
Yeah.
and compliant with not just practice, but also with state law.
Lori and I started doing that several years ago, and I'm glad that she's the one that's in charge because she knows how many of those policies are really, really outdated.
She knows it like the back of her hand.
I know she does. That's why we had started doing that, and I'm so glad that you have continued and now are in charge of it. I'm glad to see him because we had things that really needed to be, it was way outdated.
I have a great committee that I work with.
Good.
The committee is made up of several individuals, Laurie Avila, Janice Lawhorn, Danny Batra, Jody Kine.
Good.
And we work together and work on all the different areas in the policy manual with their areas of expertise. And it's been great. And it's been a good team.
That manual is huge. And like I said, I don't think anybody's looked at it for probably 20 years.
Yeah, there's a lot in there that needs updating and improved.
Oh, I'm glad to see that that's happening. Thank you, President, and
You're
for
welcome.
allowing that.
You're welcome.
Rick, you had a
You're
question?
No, I just obviously want to make a motion.
You can make a motion.
Can I?
Yes. I'll let you
I
do
want
it.
to make a motion that we approve these updates and changes in the policy regulations as presented.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Update on personnel, President Haney.
Chairman Larson, members of the board, presented for your review is the updated personnel matrix showing the positions that are either new or are being replaced due to retirements or resignations. No action is requested. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I see you've got 2 new positions on that.
Yeah, the very top position is a Director of Fine Arts. Historically here at Eastern Arizona College, Fine Arts has been a significant division and part of the college's tradition and history. This new position is intended to help us draw in all of those existing fine arts programs and to coordinate them and strengthen them to attract not just community members, but also prospective students.
And the other new position,
The other-
recruiter?
The new position is a recruiter. One of our strategic initiatives is a strategic enrollment plan. And this new recruiting position is an entry-level position, but it's intended to help the admissions office go out and attract and recruit new students from outside our service area, but in addition to Graham and Greeley County students.
Now, Eric has been doing that.
He has been doing it. This will be an addition to his office.
Okay, because I know he's been doing an excellent job, and I know he's been in
Exactly.
El Paso even recruiting
Absolutely.
new students. So this is going to expand the area or just,
Expand the capacity of that office to be able to reach more students.
okay.
Be happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, President Haney. General information and discussion of the same. Our next district governing board meeting is Thursday, May 13th at noon. And the 132nd annual commencement ceremony is Friday, May 7th at 7:30 p.m. President Haney, do you have anything?
I have a couple of items of note. Chairman Larson, members of the board, for EAC's 132nd commencement ceremony on May 7th. I'd like to announce our commencement speaker will be Arizona State Treasurer Kimberly Yee. And Treasurer Yee has been on campus a couple of times before. We're grateful that she has agreed to come back and be our commencement speaker this year. We're looking forward to hearing her remarks at graduation. As you're also probably very well aware, our EAC women's basketball team won not only the ACCAC conference title, but also the Region 1 championship title. Grateful for Cameron Turner, Coach Turner, and his efforts and the team. The team heads now next week to Lubbock, Texas for the NJCAA national tournament. They play, their first game is on Tuesday morning, playing against Moberly Area Community College out of Missouri, I believe. Now, not to be in their shadow, the EAC women's tennis team also won the Region 1 championship, and they will be headed to the NJCAA National Tennis Tournament, which will be held May 1st through the 5th in Mesa. So we're proud of both of those women's teams here on campus.
Now, and the tennis coach is
It's Brooke.
Brooke Bingham,
Coach
is what I
Brooke
thought.
Bingham, yep.
She's done excellent. Her first year, I think she won.
Yeah.
Her team went
Yeah,
to,
she's taken that tennis team to nationals a number of times.
yes,
Very
she,
proud
every
of that
year
team.
she's repeated.
I believe I've given you this information in the past, but just a reminder that we will have a vaccination clinic here on campus on Tuesday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And it will be in coordination, of course, with the county health department. They're the ones that approached us. We're grateful for their continued cooperation to the pandemic. This vaccination clinic, it will not be available publicly, but it will be available to all of our students and employees and family members of employees. And we're grateful to our nursing students and faculty who will be volunteering during this clinic on Tuesday. It's been a great semester. Looking forward to graduation. I can't believe that graduation is 3 weeks from tomorrow. It has gone by fast. We are looking forward, knock on wood, to a normal fall semester, whatever normal means anymore. Of course, we will keep watching the numbers and paying attention to the guidance and recommendations from state, local, and even national officials such as the CDC with respect to the pandemic and ensuring that our students and faculty and staff are safe.
Well, the nurses have their pinning ceremony as usual this year.
They will. They
Good.
will. And as you know, our commencement ceremony will be held in person. We are limiting the guests to 3 per graduate. It will be on the football field as we have done in the past, but we'll spread everybody out. Spread the graduates out and spread the participants out, or the spectators out as well. And the pinning ceremony, as you mentioned, Mrs. Moody, will be in person as well in the Fine Arts Auditorium, so that
Lots of space.
we
Yeah,
can spread
because before, I think they've always held it in a little lake
out. That's
theater.
right.
which it's been just jam
It's
packed.
been packed. Huh?
Standing room only usually.
All right, thank you, President Haney.
I have a quick question. I forgot to ask a while ago. What's happened to the 4-year bill?
Oh, thank you. Chairman Larson, Mr. Matthijs, the 4-year bill is, so we are waiting. In fact, I didn't check this morning, but we're waiting for it to be voted on in the Senate. It has passed the House. And it's scheduled to go to the full Senate at some point.
It's been in 2 committees, hasn't it?
It was in 2 committees in the House, and now we're waiting for it to go back to the
Okay.
Senate.
Okay, I thought it was in the Senate. It was in the committee in the Senate. It was in the House.
It's been back and forth a little bit, but right now we're waiting for it to go back to the
full Senate.
Is there a sense?
What's that?
Is there a sense of votes?
I think it's probably more likely than not to pass. As you know, there have been some opposing voices to it, but we have some pretty good proponents behind it as well.
I move we go into executive session.
I second that.
Motion and second for executive session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you for your report. All right, we're back in our meeting.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Jeff Larson, our chair, as a board representative to negotiate a contract with President Haney.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.